Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by
Bell Tire.
deep way back, and it is gone. We've got a second home run of the inning, and it's gone. Ronnie Rodriguez, his first big league homer. It's a definite power surge at the ballpark yesterday. 3 home runs against James Shields in 1 inning. Hopefully more of the same here tonight. Welcome to Comerica Park, Game 2 in the series. Tigers and the White Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen. Glad you're with us here for Game 2 in the series. And, well, even though the Tigers are not playing for a playoff spot right now, Rod, they are playing for pride. And right now, we can tell they're having some fun and a good atmosphere in that clubhouse.
Oh, they got a good group of guys led by Ron Gardenhire and his staff. They had a players-only meeting just a couple of days ago just to clear the air to make sure everybody finished strong the final 6 weeks. They play really good baseball right here at Comerica Park, and let's hope they continue to get it done.
Pretty good matchup in the ball game here tonight when you consider Michael Fulmer goes for the Tigers. Ronaldo Lopez will go for the White Sox. 2 guys that throw really hard.
Yeah, if you like high-octane heaters, I mean, you're in for a really good one here tonight. Michael Fulmer is making his first start since July 14th, coming off the disabled list. 95.8, that's 96 miles an hour, his average fastball. And Ronaldo Lopez, he's lost his last 4. He's not pitching well, but he's got a blazing fastball, too. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, now Fulmer coming off the disabled list tonight. What can we expect from him?
Well, we already talked about the fastball, so we know that he's going to fill up that strike zone with a lot of really good fastballs. Just about every last one of them will be 95 miles an hour and above. He works all 4 quadrants of the strike zone, but I just love the way he climbs the ladder with that fastball and gets swings and misses. When we're not seeing the fastball, we'll see that slider, Mr. Snappy. He likes to drop it down around the back foot of the left-handed batter, and of course, it's away from the right-handed batters. The changeup was such a good pitch for Michael Fulmer his rookie season. He hasn't used it very much lately, therefore, it's not been a very good pitch for him. Ron Gardenhire said before the game today that he was hoping that Michael Fulmer, coming off the disabled list, wouldn't be too amped up out there tonight and would stay under control and stay within himself, which would allow him to get to the 70-pitch limit they've pretty much drawn up for him tonight.
All right, Tigers have control of the season series, having won 10 of 13. Coming up tonight, Game 2 in the series, Mikey Matuk. He's been playing long ball. He's found his groove. 3 homers in the last week. Tigers Sox coming up next.
tonight. He couldn't wait to get to the park tonight because he's in the midst of a bit of a power surge. 3 homers in his last 22 at-bats after a start to his season that didn't go so well. John Keating back with you in the Call Sam studio. The story tonight, obviously, is Michael Fulmer. He will concern himself with a White Sox team that homers a ton, but they also strike out a ton. In fact, the most in the majors, and they're about to set a franchise record for the most Ks in a season. Tigers are hoping for more Sox famine than feast here tonight. Game time approaches on a Friday night, and Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. And by Dodge. Hurry in and get a great deal at the Dodge Labor Day sales event. Stay with us. First pitch is coming up.
And White Sox go at it here in game 2 under a 75-degree day here at the ballpark. Michael Fulmer on the hill off the DL, and he is presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Michael Fulmer making his 19th start of the season, comes in 3-9, does not get a whole lot of run support, but he's not complaining. He hasn't pitched since July 14th, so we're looking forward to watching what Michael will do today. Fastball, slider, change. Michael has 3 pitches.
Lineup he will face presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. For Chicago, they've got Sanchez, Moncada, and Garcia at the top. Polka batting cleanup. Anderson, Delmonico, and then Davidson, and Narvaez, and the number 9 hitter Engel. First pitch of the ball game fouled back out of play. A 96-mile-an-hour fastball from Michael Fulmer. Yolmer Sanchez in the leadoff slot here tonight, batting .248. Now the 0-1 pitch, and it's a little bit outside. 1 ball and 1 strike, 97 that time.
Michael made a couple of rehab starts down in Lakeland, Florida for the A-ball club, and just about every fastball he threw down there in those 2 starts was 95 and above. He had 11 strikeouts combined in those 2 games, and he pitched very few innings.
Well, Fulmer's fastball seems to be where it normally is, 96, 97 range. Now the 1-2 pitch. That'll dive low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Ron Gardenhire said that the one thing that he'd be watching Michael very closely for tonight to see if he's overamped up, if he's trying to do too much. It's been a while since he's been out there against big league hitters.
Pull down the ground to second. Right there is Goodrum, and 1 gone. Well, the White Sox now have Rick Renteria behind the dugout fence tonight. That's good news. He had missed 5 straight games actually.
Yeah, it is good to see him back. And Ron Gardenhire during the press meeting today was talking about the fact that he sent Rick a text message, and he told Rick, you know what, you got to think about yourself before you think about your team. Make sure your health is good before you come back.
Renteria is suffering from some lightheadedness, which prompted some testing, but he's back to work here tonight in Detroit. Yoan Moncada is the batter with 1 out.
It would be really nice to see the Tigers ace finish strong down the stretch. Yeah, the final 5 weeks of the season.
Popped up, third base side. Candelario cruising over to foul ground. 2 gone.
Let's take a peek at the Tigers defensive alignment behind the plumber today. That would be Michael Fulmer. That's what he has on his back. In left field, you got Matuk, Reyes, and Castellanos. In the infield, you've got Candelario, you've got Iglesias, you've got Nico Goodrum back in there after a night off last night. Ducey is the first baseman, and the McCannon is the catcher.
Here is Avisail Garcia, who is playing right field, batting third tonight for Chicago. Garcia, .235 this year, has landed on the disabled list twice, and that has kind of stunted his season. Still has 14 home runs.
You know who I think of when I see Avi Garcia?
Who?
I think of Nelson Cruz.
Really?
I do. I think of Nelly Cruz.
In what way?
He's going to hit a lot. He's going to hit for power. Nelson Cruz didn't hit till he's about 28, 29 in the big leagues.
Right.
And I see Avisail Garcia as that kind of guy. We saw him put it together last year. This guy's a good performer. He just needs to have some fun and put it together. He's got a lot of skills.
He really does. He runs well, has a good arm. The 0-2 is outside.
Once he learns how to hit and use his body and use his leverage and that brute strength that he has, he'll make another all-star team. He's already made 1.
0 for 4 in the opener yesterday. And he'll go all the way to the backstop, 2-2.
And Michael overthrew that slider right there. He's already thrown a couple of really nice ones in the contest, but that one he overthrew. And for any of you that do not know Michael Fulmer's story as the reason why he is wearing the plumber on his back, I think a couple of years ago he had an off-season job. And, yeah, he was a plumber.
Yes, he was. Can you imagine Michael showing up with his tool belt to your door?
How about that?
I'd like to fix your faucet.
Who are you? Michael Fulmer. I pitch for the Detroit Tigers. And I'm also your plumber.
Yeah, no, to be honest, he wasn't the lead plumber. He was helping out a plumber, but still.
You got to do whatever you got to do, man, to make that money in the offseason.
Man, you got to make ends meet, don't you? Fouled away, 2-2, the count stays.
I believe that was the last offseason he did it, too, after his Rookie of the Year campaign. I think things were going pretty good for him that year.
He probably figured, I probably don't need to do this much longer.
Or somebody got in his ear and told him not to do it anymore.
Yeah, that might be more accurate. Here's the 2-2 from the plumber. And it's a strike call. Got him looking, and Garcia is out of there. First strike out of the game, and a snappy return for Fulmer. Here game 2 featuring the Tigers in Sox, and the Tigers starting lineup tonight presented by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Candelario, Iglesias, and Castellanos in the top 3 spots. Victor back in there today. He is DHing, then Aducey and Goodrum. Matuk, McCann, Reyes rounded out for the Tigers. And they're facing a guy that has good stuff as well. Ronaldo Lopez, presented by MGM Grand Detroit.
And we saw Fulmer's fastball. He got all the way up to 98 miles an hour in that first inning. Ronaldo, he's got that big arm too. He's struggled lately to the tune of that 4.72 ERA, but he's really young, and they think he is going to be a frontline starter for years to come in their rotation.
They have some good young arms in their system. Some of them are in the big leagues right now, Lopez being one of them. We'll see Michael Kopech on Sunday, and Dylan Cease, who is one of the better minor league pitchers right now in their minor league system. Candy looks at a ball inside. 2-0 on Candelario.
Already back-to-back fastballs at 95 and 96 from Lopez.
3-0.
Candy's got a good eye. Time now for StatCast AI powered by AWS. You can see where Candy hits the ball on the ground pretty much to the pool side, and that's why they have 3 defenders on that side. The shortstop's over there with the second baseman Moncada in Delmonico.
Lopez came into the start walking about 4 per 9. He has gone to 3-1 here on Candelario, and he walked him.
And Rick Renteria's White Sox will line up this way defensively behind their starter, Reynaldo Lopez. Palka gets the start in left field today. Engel, he's back out in center field along with Garcia in right field. Sanchez, Anderson, Moncada, and Delmonico. Delmonico didn't play yesterday against the lefty Boyd. And you've got Narvaez back out there for the second consecutive night catching Lopez.
Here is Iglesias again in the 2 slot for the Tigers. He's got the leadoff man aboard. And Lopez fires a strike right at the knees at 96. Iggy thought it was a touch low.
Surprised Ron Gardenhire hasn't used Iglesias much more in hit and run type situations with the way that Iggy can handle the bat and the fact that Iggy very seldom strikes out. But we haven't seen it much.
Here's the 0-1.
As a matter of fact, we saw Ron Gardenhire manage much more aggressively when he was managing for the Minnesota Twins. Do you think it was the roster 100%, or do you think analytics have gotten in the way of his managing style?
No, I think it was the roster. I think, in my opinion, it was the roster. It was the ballpark in which he managed in for most of the time, the Metrodome. There's a shot foul back to the screen, but I agree with Iglesias because we always wondered, you know, this would be a number 2 hitter or number 2 hitter for the Tigers because he can do those things.
Yeah, he hits with 2 strikes. He doesn't strike out. He's a good RBI guy, and he can hit behind the runner. But he's got to buy into the number 2 spot too.
No doubt.
They go hand in hand.
He's got that big hole to the right side of the infield now.
He might as well shoot it. Tigers need to score Michael Fulmer some runs, man. They've only averaged 2.79 runs per game in Michael Fulmer's starts this year. For a guy that's made 15 starts, that's the lowest in the big leagues. So he hasn't gotten any run support at all. Be nice for them to get on the board early here tonight for Michael and allow him to settle in.
Here's the 2-2. Shoot it to right field, right under the glove of the first baseman Delmonico. He went the other way. Candelario going to third. He's in there standing up. It'll be a base hit for Mr. Iglesias.
And Delmonico probably should have made this play. The play hit right to his left. He reaches down for it, and the ball goes right underneath his glove. So he doesn't make the play. I don't know exactly what happened, but he probably should have made that play.
Yeah, that
and you've got Candelario. He's scooting all the way over to third base, and the Tigers are in business here in the first inning.
And could easily be ruled an error, but they're going with the base hit. A single for Iglesias, first and third now with nobody out. Delmonico is unable to scoop it. Changing the complexion of this inning. Here is Castellanos.
And Delmonico has only made 4 starts at first base this year. So in his defense, he hasn't been out there that much. A lot of the White Sox players were out early today working on some fundamentals, the outfielders and also the infielders. And Delmonico was one of those guys working at first base.
Something to keep an eye on as the night goes on. Lopez has allowed 14 stolen bases this year, which is the 5th most in the majors. Not just the American League, but Major League Baseball.
Well, Iglesias may as well go ahead and swipe one to make sure the Tigers stay out of a double play. Should Castellanos hit something on the ground.
Nick with 19 home runs this year.
Iggy has quite a few bags this season.
Right back up the middle. There's your double play ball. It's going to go 4-3 and a run will score.
Moncada, the second baseman, actually thought about coming home with that play after he got the ball on the bag at second base. Nicholas Castellanos hit it right where Yoan Moncada was standing. And he gets there and tags the bag. And take a look at him right here. He's thinking about coming home right here. But it was a pretty good break by Candelario off of third base, so he had no play there, so he took the out at first.
No RBI for Castellanos on the play. Probably made the wise choice.
Absolutely.
2 gone now for Victor Martinez. There's ball 1 to Victor, who is back in the lineup for the Tigers here today. 4 for 8 on the homestand so far.
And Victor not necessarily swinging the bat with the kind of power that he has during his major league career, but he is putting the ball in play, and lately he's been getting a ton of hits.
By the way, if the Tigers combine for 3 or more home runs like they did yesterday, bring a copy of the box score to a participating Arby's location tomorrow. Free small order of curly fries.
I thought I saw you pulling out of Arby's earlier today. Was that you? You had your box score?
I can neither confirm nor deny. I just might have been. You never know.
I took a fit. It looked like Mario. She's happy. They're fired up.
2-1 is the count now on Victor Martinez. Two and two on V-Mart.
Just about every fastball that Reynaldo has thrown has been 95 and above, and Michael Fulmer the same. These are 2 of your hardest throwing young pitchers in our sport. And the one thing about these 2 guys is they throw 96 in the first inning, and they're throwing 96, 97 in the 8th inning as well, so they can maintain that velocity.
3-2 now on Victor. Lopez only 24 years old. San Pedro de Macorís, his hometown.
It's a nice city in Dominican.
Here's the 3-2. Are you amazed at all by the stretch run that Victor has had here? Because in the middle of the season, he looked absolutely spent. And as the summer wore on, you wondered if he had anything left.
I don't know what he did for the All-Star break, man, but he went home, maybe did some soul searching, man, and just figured out, you know what, I'm going to stop trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark. I'm going to stop swinging hard. I'm going to have some fun the last couple of months. I'm going to lead by example and just get a bunch of hits, and that's what he's done.
Got him looking that time. Strike 3 to end the inning. Tigers grab a run and grab the lead.
Dugout tonight, Rick Renteria back on the job after having tests done at the hospital in Chicago over the last few days after suffering symptoms of lightheadedness. Don't know whether it was exhaustion, dehydration, or exactly what it was, but he had to take some time away from the team, and he's back with them here today, been cleared by the doctors. And I talked with Ron Gardenhire before the game about how important it is for these guys to maintain their health. We know how long and stressful the season is. When you're a manager, you've got player concerns, upper management concerns, fan concerns, all riding your back, second guessing yourself throughout the game. But Ron said his wife is the key to him maintaining his health right now. She does not let him bring that stuff home from work, guys, and that's very key to staying healthy with the grind of a baseball season for these managers.
No doubt, Trev. And here's a play that Reyes almost, ball was in his glove.
Yeah, it pops out. The ball does pop out, but if you're Reyes, you got to get up and throw it in. You still can't be pretending like you caught it, because what you allowed Polka to do was go from first base, and now he's standing on second base. I mean, Reyes sitting there holding the ball, and then all of a sudden the runner takes off and goes to second.
And so that'll put Polka into scoring position now as Anderson strolls in. Initially a great play by Reyes, but it popped out of the glove as he hit the ground.
That's the one thing that Ron Gardenhire has preached to his outfielders tirelessly all season long. When you get the ball, get it in.
Get it in, yep.
Just get it in.
He has said that over and over and over.
And if you do that, your job's done.
Right.
They can't blame you for nothing else.
That's true. It's in your hands now.
Yeah.
Oh, leadoff double for Polka. Anderson sends a ground ball to third. This will not advance the runner. Anderson is gone, one away. He'll bring up Delmonico.
Delmonico's been hot. He has been one of their hotter hitters lately, so Michael Fulmer's going to have to pitch very carefully to him.
He is homered in back-to-back games and now has 7 for the year.
He's been getting himself in really good fastball friendly counts, and he's been jumping on them.
Good swing and a miss. 0-1 on Delmonico.
Great pitch. Michael hasn't used his changeup a whole lot this year, but this is a good one. Nice little fading changeup down and away. Delmonico swings right over the top of it.
Followed that up with a letter high fastball at 95 that missed. Fulmer in 6 rehab innings struck out 11 down in the minor leagues. Fouled away. Michael on a big league mound for the first time since July the 14th, when he allowed 7 runs against the Houston Astros on the road.
Check out these numbers on the changeup, Mario. Remember how effective that changeup was for Fulmer when he ran off with the Rookie of the Year? 167 was the average against him. The slugging percentage was under 2. But he's not really using the changeup that much anymore. There it is again, though. I think he might be getting back to it. But remember how well he used that changeup after his 3rd or 4th start in the big leagues in his rookie year? Look at that pitch, right? It looks like a forkball almost, but that's his changeup.
Yeah, Delmonico just got a piece of that one.
But the numbers have not been good this year against the changeup, so I know Michael would love to get back to that.
Two and 2 on Delmonico. Leadoff double by Polka. He's still there now with 1 out.
That is a pretty hard changeup, though. I mean, I know the velocity of Michael Fulmer's fastball can get up to 98 miles an hour, but still, a 90-mile-per-hour changeup is still kind of aggressive.
Now he's gone full 3 and 2, and again, keep in mind the pitch count is a pretty firm 70 here tonight for Fulmer. Now Gardy did say before the game if he's at 65-68 and has one more out to get out of an inning. He might let him go a little bit longer, but not much. He's at 24 and now 25, and a ground ball to the outfield grass for Nico, who throws him out. Runner will move to third, 2 gone. As you enjoy a Miller Lite, look forward to the whole true moments later in tonight's game. Tying run at third now with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Matt Davidson, who has made a living against Tigers pitching. .369 career against Detroit.
If you look at Michael Fulmer's splits against right-handers and left-handers, right-handers hitting a little bit better against Michael than the lefties. And that's the reason Michael hasn't used that changeup that much this year. Good slider, good pitch.
Here's the 0-1. Driven toward left field. On the run is Matuk, still coming over. Mikey with a sliding catch in left. Great running play by Mikey Matuk on a tip of the cap from Michael Fulmer. Matuk saves the run here in the second.
Know your own power. The Tigers did something last night for the first time this year. They homered 3 batters in the 5th frame last night. All of those came against James Shields, Castellanos, Matuk, and Ronnie Rodriguez, the Dominican rapper, with a home run, his first of his career.
Powering the Tigers to a win in game 1, and now they lead here in game 2, 1-0.
There's Ronnie. How do you hit a homer and a double and you get to sit the next day?
One ball, 2 strikes on a Ducey. He is followed by Goodrum and then Mikey Matuk. Tigers got a run in the first on a double play ball by Castellanos, scoring a runner from third. Popped up, shallow right field. Sounded like he broke his bat, and Moncada runs out there. Let's check in now with Trevor Thompson.
J.J. Mumford is walking up to the plate right now. That would be Nico Goodrum, and the J.J. Mumford has very significant meaning to Nico. Jared and Jalen Mumford were killed in 2016 in a car accident, and they're from very close to where Nico grew up. He said he grew up, those kids were younger than him. He always remembered them as good young kids who liked to play the game of baseball. They passed away in that car accident. He's trying to keep their memory alive because they were young baseball players too. And not only is he wearing their name on his jersey in Players Weekend, he's invited their mom, their brother and sister, along with his father and stepfather. They're here at the ballpark today, invited them for Players Weekend so that they could be a part of that, and said he's going to pass that jersey off to her when the weekend's over, guys.
Ooh. That's really cool, and I think that, you know, on Players Weekend, it's such a lighthearted thing that is the shortstop Anderson makes a nice play. You know, a lot of guys are using kind of silly nicknames. I think it's really cool of Nico to use it for a little bit more depth.
Yep. Absolutely.
And to bring the Mumfords to town for the weekend so they could be a part of it as well. He told me it means a lot to the Mumfords that he keeps their memory alive. It certainly means a lot to him that he can keep some kids from his old area in his memory as well. And they were young baseball players. He's also got the city of Atlanta etched on his shoes, the skyline of Atlanta etched on his shoes. So he's really going back to his roots and not forgetting where he came from on this Players Weekend, guys.
Pretty cool. Nico Goodrum got robbed of a base hit there by Anderson, the shortstop.
He sure did. That was a rocket off Nico's bat.
Here is Mikey Matuk batting 195. Homer to the ball game yesterday. Now has 3 of them in his last 7 games. Lopez trying to settle in. Had a bit of a bumpy first inning. Walked single, but got a big double play ball. Now time called as Lopez started the windup. Time given by home plate umpire Adam Hammery. Here's the 1-1. Mikey's seeing most of the reps now in left field for the Tigers. In there, a strike call. Going back to college with Nissan. Talked about Adam Hammery. He's a Michigan native from Marquette, Michigan, and he went to college at Northern Michigan University with a master's degree in education administration.
Ooh, he sounds smart.
He does.
Now, how do you go from there to being an umpire, big league umpire?
We gotta ask him.
I bet he loves this job much more.
No doubt. The Cubs did today.
He had another home run.
He walked him off.
Man.
Bodie hit a 2-run shot against the Tigers here on Wednesday night.
He also hit a grand slam walk-off variety on the 12th of this month. So Bodie's been banging lately.
He's been hitting some big home runs.
He's getting most of the at-bats in place of Chris Bryant, who is still ailing a bit.
Here are the White Sox now in the top of the third. 1-0 Tigers have the lead as Omar Narvaez leads it off. Narvaez, then Engel, and then Yolmer Sanchez. Good night for a ball game. Temperature in the 70s here tonight. We're getting a little closer to the month of September, and you know what that means.
Yep.
Temps will cool down a bit. This will be the 30th pitch now for Fulmer. Up and in. Narvaez, .338 career against the Tigers with a couple of home runs as well.
And the one thing that Teron Geidenheimer worried about, and Fulmer hasn't done it. He's looked very good out there. He's looked very much under control. He's not overthrowing. Nice, easy delivery. Michael looks a little sleeker to me, too. I don't know what it is, but he just looks like he might have dropped a couple of LBs while he was down in Lake. I mean, it's a natural thing to do. It's hot down in Florida, right?
Looks slimmer, to be sure. You lose a couple of pounds just walking from your car to the house.
That's right. You start sweating as soon as you walk outside in Florida in the summertime. Seems like Narvaez always puts together a quality plate appearance against us. He doesn't always get hits, man, but he sees a lot of pitches.
Yeah, that's the kind of hitter he is. He's a great on base percentage throughout his career. .369 to be exact. He'll line one to Nico in short right field on a one hop, throws him out. One away. Win big with Menards and Fox Sports Detroit. Just visit any Menards location. Pick up your entry to win the Fox Sports Detroit Ultimate VIP Studio Experience Sweepstakes. Your visit includes a studio tour, meet and greet with the talent, and a whole lot more. Make sure you visit a Menards store today. It'll absolutely make your day to meet John Keating. Here is Adam Engel. That'll bend in for a strike 0-1. Engel at .233, 5 homers this year.
Engel is trying to finish the season strong. He wants to make sure that he solidifies himself next year for the center field position. Defensively, he's one of the best in the business, but he's got to do a little bit better job with the on-base percentage, getting on base, so he can use his speed.
Fulmer carved him up. Second strikeout from Michael.
Yeah, fastball mid-90s up top and right by Engel. Four-seam variety. Look at it come off the fingertips. The one thing about that fastball, people, is that it stays on the same plane from the time it leaves Michael Fulmer's hand until the time it gets in the catcher's glove.
Yolmer Sanchez, the batter. Fulmer now has retired 5 straight since the polka bloop double in the second. He did get a little help on a nice sliding play by Mikey Matuk in left.
Here's that pitch again. This is what scouts talk about, a guy having high spin rate on his fastball. Look at the line. The ball does not come down at all, and that's where guys that have good fastballs with good high spin rates pitch upstairs because they get swings and misses. It also helps if you got 96 in your back pocket too.
Yeah, that's a plus. That'll back him out of there. 2-2 now on Sanchez.
I love the aggressiveness that Michael is pitching inside with. 97 inside to make Sanchez move his feet. I wonder if he'll go change up or if he'll go with another fastball here.
3-2.
Went backdoor breaking ball, slider variety, didn't catch the corner.
Yolmer's got those sweet specs on. Sanchez is known as a guy that's kind of a free spirit, loves to have fun in the game. As a matter of fact, when Daniel Polka had a walk-off home run a few nights back in Chicago, he ran out with the Gatorade bucket and dumped it on his third base coach. Not Polka. Flared to left field, running play by Matuk to end the inning.
I bet Nick Camper was happy about that.
He was.
See this on Twitter earlier today. There was a cafe in Beverly Hills that our old friend Justin Verlander stopped into, and they added a miscellaneous item, $1 million. Dodger killer, it was listed as. So that's all in fun, and Verlander had some fun. What's serious business, though, guys, is that he was charged $30 for pancakes. $30 for pancakes.
Know what else is crazy, John?
Yeah.
He could afford that.
He sure can. He can afford the miscellaneous.
He can afford that miscellaneous too.
He probably looked at the receipt and said, "Oh, it's kind of high." But, all right, I'll pay it.
It's a little high. How much do you tip on $1 million miscellaneous item?
Here is McCann to lead things off for the Tigers in the third. McCann, Reyes, and Candelario facing Ronaldo Lopez. And Mack looks at a ball down low.
McCann due to get 1 or 2 hits today against Lopez. He has really good numbers against him. Lopez has had very little success against James McCann. And he's got himself in a nice friendly fastball count too.
James 147 on the homestand, wearing the nickname McCannon on his jersey here on Players Weekend. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Of course, the McCannon, a reference to his throwing arm, which has been dubbed the McCannon since his college days at Arkansas.
I thought you gave him that name.
No, that existed way before me.
Really?
Yeah. That's what I read. One of the coaches, I guess, or one of the parents down in Arkansas when he was playing college ball gave it to him. 3-2. He'll be followed by Reyes, and then the top of the order. Hey, by the way, you stay tuned to Tigers Live following the game. We invite you to do so. We'll be selecting the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's. Now Lopez again with the 3-2. Got him up top. McCannon goes down swinging. Third strikeout now for Lopez.
Yeah, very difficult to catch up with the mid-90s fastball up top. 98 that time from Lopez. Four-seam fastball.
Victor Reyes 2 for 10 on the homestand. One ball, one strike. I knew there was something I loved about Reyes in his setup. He never leaves the batter's box.
Yeah.
He doesn't walk around. Here's a little looper down the left field line. Fair ball.
Go 2.
He is running around the bag, trying for 2, and he's going to make it. Stand up double for Victor Reyes.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. A little cue shot off the bat of Victor Reyes on that change piece, and once he sees the ball land softly in left field, he's off to the races, and there's no one that's going to throw him out at second, not with his speed.
Tigers have a chance to get another run now as Candelario stands in.
Did somebody just say they ruled out a single in there?
No. He was just kidding.
Don't get me going. We done already had a couple questionable calls today.
You're about to blow your top, man.
I'm getting ready to, like, okay. I might have called out the name today.
No, that was a double. 1-0 on Candy. And it'll dive low now, 2-0. Candelario walked in the first inning and scored. Candelario, for a young hitter, not afraid to take his walks. And he has been very good at that all season long. He's got 51 walks now. In there is strike call, 2-1. Well, manage your dream team in franchise mode, plus get weekly stats, roster updates, and more. RBI Baseball 18 is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone.
And Victor will steal a base if you give him too much room. In this case being Tim Anderson, the shortstop, who's playing right behind him.
3-2 now on Candelario.
Lopez has given up 23 home runs this year. 19 have come on his four-seam fastball.
Whoa.
So he loves his fastball. He's not afraid of it, even though he gives up a lot of homers on it.
Jamer waiting on a 3-2, and now he's waiting too long. He'll step out on Lopez. Lopez acquired along with Lucas Giolito, tomorrow night's starter in the Adam Eaton deal from the Washington Nationals. He checked it, ball 4. That's another walk for Candy. Second walk of the ball game, both of them for Candelario. It'll bring up Iglesias. Iggy drove one right by the first baseman Delmonico in his first at bat, setting up the first Tigers run. He is 1 for 1. Driven foul to right field, 0-1. Jose now with a 7-game hitting streak. His name was mentioned quite a bit heading into the July 31st trading deadline. And he is still here with the Tigers.
He cleared waivers, didn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah. He could still be moved.
Ooh, pickoff throw, but nobody at the bag. Moncada was about 5 or 6 steps off the bag.
It's a good thing that Lopez threw the ball to the second baseman instead of throwing it to the bag where most pitchers are taught to throw the ball.
Ground ball towards short. Anderson firing to second, 1, and safe at first base, Iglesias.
Man, Anderson's got a strong arm.
Here is the BP brighter picture as Nicholas Castellanos strolls in. How about his numbers in his last 10 games?
12 ribbies in those 12 games, along with 3 homers.
First and third now, 2 outs. Ball 1. Lopez up to 50 in the game now, 27 strikes, so his ratio is not very good. He has walked 2 batters, Candelario twice. Here's the 1-0. Nick against the White Sox this year at a .392 clip. 5 of his 19 homers have come at the expense of the White Sox staff. Reyes got it started with a bloop double. He is standing at third now with 2 outs. The 2-0.
And Nicholas left the strike zone there. You're trying to catch up to that mid-90s fastball, but you do have to start early when a guy throws as hard as Lopez. Partner last year on this date, Castellanos was batting .246 with 72 RBIs. He's got 71 right now, and he got to 100.
Wow.
Remember how we talked about him down the stretch last year? We didn't think he could get there. He had a monster September.
Yeah,
he got there.
I didn't think he'd do it, but he did.
He can get there again. His batting average is much better this year than it was last year. He's close to 300. He's got a legitimate shot of finishing at 300. But 72 RBI on this date last year, 71 RBI right now.
Well, I'm surprised at that. Based on the start that Nick got off to this year, I thought he would have a few more RBIs this year than at this point last year.
Yeah, he just had that rough spot. I mean, he had that 3-week spot, I think, right after the All-Star game when he came back. Man, he just didn't have a very good 2 weeks, and I think his numbers suffered a little bit.
Lopez now with the 2-2. Instead, back to first. Castellanos still making adjustments to right field, but his adjustments have been pretty good this year. 9 outfield assists, which is 3rd in the American League.
And going inside with a fastball.
Line to center field, base hit. Castellanos drives in a run. Iglesias going to third. He's in there, and the Tigers have a 2-0 lead.
It's a nice piece of hitting by Nicholas Castellanos, who left the strike zone on the 2-0 fastball upstairs in the mid-90s. Ronaldo tried to get inside on Nicholas. That's a good fastball, man. That is 98 miles an hour. Look at Nick get to the ball, though. I mean, 98 down in the strike zone, and he whistles it right back up the box for the 73rd RBI of the season. Sometimes you just have to give the hitter some credit. I mean, that was 98 in a good location, and Castellanos was able to get to it.
So here is Martinez now. Nick now with 3 hits in the series.
Nick has really good numbers overall this year against the White Sox. As you mentioned, he's done his best work against Chicago pitching.
Here's a guy as well that is batted well against the Sox. 341 for Victor. Ball outside, 1-0. Lopez got him looking. A strikeout victim in the first inning.
Yeah, Lopez has only thrown 31 pitches, and nearly half of those are balls, so he doesn't have that good command as of yet tonight. Oh, good cut. .528 RBI by Victor Martinez, which is second most in the history of the Tigers by a switch hitter.
Billy Rogel at the top of that list.
I'd say he's got a pretty good chance of catching Billy.
I would tend to agree. In fact, he could catch him right now with one swing of the bat.
Ooh, you calling it?
Yeah, we'll see. Here's the 1-1. Chopper to the right side of the infield. Gobbled up by Moncada, and that will end the inning. The Tigers get another run. They're up 2 now. Tigers baseball presented by Bell Tire. It is Players Weekend, so the players putting their nicknames on their backs, giving the fans something to smile about. I love the plumber, man. Plumber's good.
Candy's cool.
Some of them are pretty basic, some are not. Man of Steel, Guardy's pretty basic. Just depends. Good cross section of nicknames.
Guardy's bench coach. Sticks. Slim is his. That's it. Mr. Little.
Little?
Yeah.
Yohan Moncada leads it off. Tigers have a 2-0 lead now as we go to the 4th. It'll be Moncada, Garcia, Polka. 2, 3, and 4 for Rick Renteria. Infield playing to pull on Moncada. 2-1. Moncada 16 homers this year. He has power. He does strike out a lot, though.
I don't think the White Sox are really all that concerned about his strikeouts as a rookie. If he was in his sophomore season or his third season in the big leagues, I think they'd be a lot more concerned. But this is a learning year for Moncada.
He is on pace, though, to set a record.
Yep, he is.
Moncada, highly thought of, was highly decorated as a minor leaguer, one of the top prospects in the entire game. He'll take his walk, leadoff man on here in the fourth. Chevrolet's most dependable players. Want to check out some of the best Players Weekend nicknames around baseball. There are quite a few good ones.
All Rise is most definitely pretty cool.
One of my favorite on that whole list is down low. It's their Hunter Pence underpants. I remember in the 2012 World Series, Hunter Pence was playing right field for the Giants, and Tigers fans were just screaming underpants at him. So apparently it stuck with him. Shane Bieber, not Justin. That's pretty good. Little tapper back to the mound. Fulmer goes to second. There's one, and the throw is wide, pulling a Ducey off the bag.
Outstanding feed by Michael Fulmer to second base to Nico Goodrum. But once Nico got it, for whatever reason, Nico dropped down to a sidearm angle and that ball tailed on him. Watch his angle he throws it from. He throws it from a sidearm angle and just kind of flips it over there, and he's not able to really get anything on the throw. Another thing Nico told us, man, he is still learning that second base position. It looked like Moncada kind of clipped him a little bit.
Boy, you're not kidding on that feed by Fulmer. It was a bullet chest high to Nico Goodrum. Here's Palka now with one out.
Remember we had Nico mic'd up, about a week ago or so?
Yeah.
And he was talking about he and Santiago having a conversation about trying to turn double plays and how sometimes, because it's new to him, he gets his feet tangled up. But look at here. See where he should be right now. Stop it right there. Nico should be behind the bag so that he can protect himself from the base runner. And if he's behind the bag, he can get a better throw off. But he got his feet all tangled up and he came off and he just didn't get a good throw off. I mean, it's that simple. But Nico is still learning that second base position. He's a shortstop by trade, and when you go to the other side of the bag, I mean, to get the footwork down with all the shifts and different things that they're throwing at you, it's a learning curve.
Well, that's the real point with all these shifts now. It's not a normal feed to second base or a normal play that you're used to turning coming up in the minor leagues. Different angles now. 2-1 the count on Palka. Polka's been clutch for them this year. He's had 5 home runs that have come in the 9th inning. High fly ball left field. It's going to be Mikey Matuk. Can't find it. Now he locates it just in the nick of time.
It's that time of night where you look up and you've got the twilight in between darkness and night. You look up and sometimes you lose it, and Mikey lost it right away, but he stayed with it. And it came out. He finally found it.
How many times were you in that position when you played?
Quite a few.
Yeah, I can imagine your heart skipped a beat too.
I don't mind those as much because you know at some time you might be able to pick it up, but the ones that I'm scared to death of are the ones in the lights.
Yeah.
Those scare you because you don't see them.
Now Tim Anderson with 2 outs.
Nasty slider right there. And Michael 11 of 14 in first pitch strikes. Mario, I think he looks about as good today as we could have imagined.
Yeah, no arguments from me. He's been very sharp. He should be able to give the team 5 innings with the 70 pitch count. He's at 57 right now, so you assume if he can get this out here, they can run him back out there again. 37 of the 57 are strikes.
He's used all of his pitches. And fastball, he's used the slider quite a bit. And the changeup. It's a nice block by McCann. Picture perfect. Average pitch velocity tonight for Michael Fulmer, almost 97 miles an hour. Just a tick above his season average.
Into right field. Jason Castellanos back to the wall to make the catch. And end the inning. Nice running play by Nicholas Castellanos. This ball was headed to the wall, and Nick hauled it in. The 50th anniversary of the Tigers' 1968 World Series championship on September 8th. The Tigers host the Cardinals at 6:10. Arrive early for a special on-field ceremony presented by Comerica Bank. For tickets or for more information, go to tigers.com. Back here at the ballpark now, Tigers still lead 2-0 as Jim Adduci leads off the bottom of the 4th inning. We welcome in the great Tom Gage, the Hall of Fame writer who spent 37 years as a beat writer for the Detroit Tigers and the Detroit News. Tom, welcome. I know that you've got a new project out here which we want to show the folks. 3, which is a tribute to Alan Trammell. How fun was it to write this book?
Oh, it was great. It really was. It was, you know, I can't, it's just giving back to Tram. You know, he's given so much to Detroit and to the fans and to the reporters because he talked to us an awful lot. And it's just my pleasure and my honor to be part of a project that gives back to him.
Tom, I know Tram was one of your favorite players that you ever covered here in Detroit. What did it mean to you to get to Cooperstown and watch him going to the Hall of Fame along with Jack?
Well, he was the classiest player that I ever covered, and I said that when I you know, gave my Spink Award speech, and you know. But that entire team, I mean, yourself included.
Right. Thank you.
You were all good with reporters, and you knew what we didn't try to trick you. I mean, we were fair with everybody on that team, I believe, and they were fair with us. So maybe it was there was no social media back then, but it really worked. It did.
Jim Adduci leading things off here in the 4th. For chatting with Tom Gage, who covered the Tigers in '84 when Alan Trammell, of course, was putting together a terrific year. That '84 team went 35-5, won the World Series. More importantly, Tom, this book, as you mentioned, gives back to Alan Trammell, who, in my estimation, is one of the most selfless people in all of baseball. You covered him in the heyday when
You know, the Tigers in '84 were basically rock stars, and Allen just seemed to be such the most grounded person you would ever meet.
Yeah, like your next door neighbor. It was like talking over the fence with him. It really was, and he was, you know, and that's really what I've said about him, Mario. It was like he was, you know, just a regular, you know, like a neighbor, and he didn't. Well, he got angry once in a while because, you know, there are 162 games. And they didn't lose many, but they lost enough, especially after 35-5. It wasn't an easy go entirely after that. But, you know, and there were enough players on that '84 team that were somewhat combustible.
Really?
Yeah, but Tram was not one of them.
So what can we expect from this book, and what is in this book that will be of interest to all of us?
I think Tram, a 1 year... Tram at 1 year old, Tram at
really?
Oh yeah. Tram at asking Santa for a baseball glove, and you know, I have to say, his sisters and his family really were a help, because his sisters, I think they got his okay to give us the photos that they did. But they really helped out. I talked to them in Cooperstown, and they said, "Hey, we've got some that we want to, send to you for the book." And it wasn't just the Tram at 1 and Tram at 4 and stuff like that. They were really good. His sister Lynn had a great story about how when she was in college, and I think he's 5 years younger than she is, and so he was in the 8th or 9th grade. She said, well, people started calling me Tram. and she said, no, that's not my name. That's his name.
Right.
So, and his other sister, Nancy, said that she ran for class president so many times and didn't make it. And finally, one time, she said, the boys voted for me because of my brother.
Nice.
What did you learn, Tom, about Allen while writing this book that you really didn't know about him while covering him?
I think that's one of the reasons that I think I was chosen to write it, is because I knew so much about him. Mm-hmm. You know, I've written, a lot of stories about him, but I didn't know that he was, I probably could have guessed, but that he was so active as a kid. Mm-hmm. You know, he would, and that it wasn't, obviously it was basketball and baseball, but he was always active. I didn't know he would climb to the top of his furniture in his living room, and just anything to stay active and to play sports.
You know, one of the things I wanted to ask you, Tom, was about covering teams in that era. You know, in the 70s and 80s, they didn't have Twitter. They didn't have, the instant video that you can get on the internet about prospects. So when Tram and Lou were coming up in the 70s, when did you first start to hear about these two guys that could be in Detroit, could be a double play combination? Because nowadays, when guys are drafted, you're following them on the internet immediately as to become professionals. Back in the day, it wasn't like that.
No, but the minute I was keeping track of how many triples he had for Montgomery in 1977. Really? Yeah, and he had 19 triples, Mario, and that set it. Yeah, wow. That set the league record. So you began to hear about him, and also with you knew that they were thinking about the future when they moved Lou from third base. Lou didn't want to leave third base. He loved the position. So when they moved him from third to second, after he won for Lakeland, he won the MVP of his league. You knew that they were probably thinking in terms of a future with a double play combination with Trammell. Even though Trammell was part of, he was only one of 5 shortstops taken that year by the Tigers. But I think Glenn Gulliver hadn't gotten hurt in 1977. Maybe Tram would have been slower coming along, but he came along quickly, and so he was just the right guy at the right time, but with the right talent.
You know Sparky very well when he managed here too. You had a nice relationship with him. What was his relationship like with Alan Trammell? Did he ever talk to you about Trammell in different situations?
Oh, he did. A lot of times, Rod, it was about the fact that the ball wasn't coming off his bat at a velocity that was considered, major league.
Right.
But I consider Tram's quintessential hit was the double down the third base line. and he learned to pull the ball, and not so much for power. He had his share of home runs, but I just remember that ball right over third or inside of third and going down into the left field corner. I just saw that hundreds of times, and somehow they got Tram to turn on the ball and for Lou to hit the ball with authority.
Gates Brown.
Yeah, you bet.
Gates Brown.
You bet.
Well, there are plenty of photos in the book as well, Tom, as you mentioned. We have one photo of Tram on a Trans Am. Apparently it was after the World Series because it says MVP. Tell us about this photo. Was this after '84?
Yeah, he was named the MVP of that series, and that's the car he chose, or either chose or won. I don't know if they had a choice back then, but that was it.
That ball flared into foul ground. Tough play. It's going to drop foul. No play.
And we told you that Delmonico playing only his 4th game at first base.
So what would you say, Tom, is Tram's legacy when you think about what you're going to think about on Sunday when you see the number 3 go up on that wall in left field? What is his legacy in your mind?
He was a textbook player. He really was. He just did everything right, and not just on the field. I mean, he was. I had a lot of guys just say he was the perfect teammate, and that's not to say that he was a goody two-shoes. I mean, he did his share of instigating in that clubhouse and making sure that whatever was going around that clubhouse didn't get back to him. Kirk Gibson
took the blame for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. But you mentioned the word instigating to Trammell, and he'll give you that.
He stirred it up.
That little smile, and he knows exactly what you're talking about.
What's the best way for us to get this great book in our hands, Tom?
At the ballpark here, and also through tigers.com/Trammell3.
Tigers batting here in the 4th inning in a 2-0 game. They have 1-on-1 out. We're chatting with Tom Gage, the Hall of Fame writer, who has just penned 3, a tribute to Alan Trammell, which will be available as Mikey swings and misses.
Now, Rod, one of the stories in this is about a broadcaster who skipped class at Michigan State one day.
Really?
To attend the World Series game.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Did he really? And he turned out to be as good as he is after skipping class at Michigan State.
See, no, I thought I told you that story in confidence.
Oh, no, it's all out there.
Oh, it's all out there. In fact, I think I remember what page it's at.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, there was the lottery system back in those days where you had to enter a lottery to win tickets to the World Series and the playoffs. And lo and behold, I got this letter that said I won. I could get tickets, so I had to skip class at MSU and come down and watch the Tigers win a World Series. But yeah, what great memories. And when you think back of that 1984 team, I think that's pretty much the pinnacle of what people remember. That '87 season for Tram might have been a better year for him.
Yeah, he should have been MVP. I think I've heard you guys say that, and he should have been. I thought he was. I had an MVP vote that year, and I did not vote for George Bell.
Why do you think Bell won?
I think he
drove in like 140 runs or something.
He drove in a lot of runs, but you know, he slumped at the end, and I thought that Trammell was going to overcome him at the end, and I think the RBIs probably swayed it.
1 ball, no strikes on McCann, batting here with 2 outs and a runner at second now against Lopez.
Tom, do you believe that by Tram and Jack getting into the Hall of Fame, it kind of solidifies that '84 group that will get the due they really deserve now?
What I think it will lead to is more, actually. I think Lou will get in as part of the entity that he and Tram put together.
Right.
As part of that second and short combination. I don't think Lou might have gotten in by himself. I mean, he only had 15 votes that year, and that seems incredible now. But now that Whitaker and Trammell have a foot in the door, in quite a famous door, I think Lou will get in.
Here are some of the numbers for Mr. Trammell and Mr. Whitaker and all the games they played together, all the double plays they turned together. 751. Tom Gage, you probably saw all of those.
He sure did.
Many of them, that's for sure. What I did not know, though, in researching these guys, I knew that they had their first hit against Reggie Cleveland in the same game. I did not realize until I
And it's going to be flared foul.
Until I researched it, is that a year apart they had their last hit off of the same pitcher as well.
That's incredible.
Mike Fetters.
No kidding.
And,
that's incredible.
Yeah, and Trammell had Lou's last hit actually was a walk-off home run, and after that he struggled until the end of the season. But Tram had it really pleased him that his last hit was like his first hit. A single up the middle.
Yeah.
And he says, I went out the way I went in, the way I came in.
Now, I assume you were covering the game when they first took the field together at Fenway Park, correct?
I was not.
You were not?
I was not. Yeah, I became the Tigers beat writer in '79.
Oh, okay.
And so I missed his first full year and also his first hit. I was probably listening to you, though.
Oh, easy. That ball is up and in. 3-2 now on McCann. Well, the book again is 3. A salute to Alan Trammell. It's going to be available, and it's going to be a great day on Sunday. And I know that Jack was a great day, but I think it's also a great time for the Tigers and what they're doing and retiring the numbers. And the Jack ceremony was awesome. I assume Tram's ceremony is going to be just as good.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine how much more heartfelt it can be than Jack's. I mean, Jack always had that emotion at the surface, and I think, but you know, Tram will show it as well, and he'll show it by, I think, how often he waves to the crowd and how he acknowledges the crowd, and I think, frankly, I think the cheers will be louder. That's nothing against Jack.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Here's the 3-2 now to McCann. Chop foul. Well, I know this. Their personalities are so much different, and I think their Hall of Fame acceptance speeches were different as well. Jack was much more emotional, and I think Tram was much more calculated with his words and very much more under control and soft-spoken. That kind of just echoes the way they've been as people.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mario. Tram was composed. You could tell that he had practiced it, that he knew his speech. And I was hoping that, and I thought Jack let some random thoughts kind of come into his head, and that he was fighting hard to control the emotion. But that's Jack. I mean, the Tigers of that year and of that era, his teammates meant so much to him that he's teared up many times before this. But I also know that I bet you Tram on Sunday, you'll be able to detect some if not tears, at least some tearing up in his eyes, because when he knew after his final game that it was it for him, he said he lost it emotionally.
Yeah. All right, Tom, we appreciate it. Take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
By a 2-0 score, and Michael Fulmer going back to the hill for what will be his final inning in this ball game due to the pitch count. He has looked extremely sharp here tonight. Nicky Delmonico will lead things off now for the White Sox, and he waves and misses. Not a whole lot going on against Mr. Fulmer tonight. Leadoff bloop double in the second, no damage. Leadoff walk in the fourth, no damage. One ball and one strike.
Michael Fulmer has thrown a total of 61 pitches, and 40 of those have been 95 miles an hour and above.
That's down the right field line, but foul.
We told you, Delmonico, he came in hot. You've got to pitch very carefully to him. It's great stuff with Tom Gage.
A wealth of knowledge. 37 years as the Tigers beat writer.
You could tell Tram was his favorite. You could tell.
With the Detroit News. It is a ball inside, and the count goes 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, Tom is in the Hall of Fame as well, a 2015 J.G. Taylor Spink Award winner for writers. 2-2 is pounded foul, back out of play. Souvenir. And they're happy Tigers fan. Delmonico is 0 for 1 with a ground out. Rolled foul.
Here's our Xfinity high-speed pitch on Michael Fulmer. A lot of fastballs, 95 and above, and a few of those at 98 miles an hour. That 86 reading that you're looking at, that's a slider.
Wave and a miss. Down he goes. And Delmonico is out of there.
Michael Fulmer's stuff tonight is absolutely dirty.
3rd strikeout of the night for Fulmer.
Fastball is explosive, and that slide piece. It's got some nice depth to it as well. Actually, that was his changeup. That changeup is looking more and more like a forkball.
Fulmer now at 66 pitches. They're starting to stir in the Tigers' pen. Alcantara warming up. Again, 70 was the marker the Tigers were shooting for tonight. It looks like they'll go a little bit beyond that. And really, a lot of it depends on how much stress there has been in the game, and there hasn't been much for Fulmer.
No, he hasn't thrown many stressful pitches. I asked Ron Gardenhire today, will he try to get Alcantara in the game today, and he said he would. He had a rough outing a couple of nights ago against the Cubs, and managers always like to get their young players back out there to get them in action to get better.
Up top, swing and a miss. Down he goes. Fulmer with another strikeout, his 4th.
That fastball at 97, that dust. Matt Davidson. Fulmer throwing a lot of strikes today. A lot of first pitch strikes, a lot of velocity, some good sliders, good changeups. Led beautifully tonight by his catcher, James McCann.
Here is Narvaez. Ooh, that's a huge swing there for Narvaez. Best scoring chance for the Sox was in the second, leadout double by Palka, but Fulmer settled down, got a couple of ground outs and a nice running play in left by Matuk.
Good
Went
pitch.
around.
My goodness, that
Count is
changeup.
0-2. It's looking like Fulmer's not going to need any help here in the 5th. 13 swings and misses on the fastball in this game.
This might be his best fastball of the night. If they do call for one, here it goes. Might be 99.
Fouled away. Fulmer's first start since July the 14th. Had a rocky night in Houston. Gave up 7 runs. Then was injured shortly after that in the bullpen. It'll miss inside. Again, the 1-2. Way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the mid-teens in every inning so far. 75 total for Fulmer. And he missed low now. We'll go 3-2.
Yeah, Gardenhire starting to walk around a little bit in the dugout, having a conversation with his pitching coach, Rick Anderson.
Don't know if Alcantara would be ready at this point. Gardy checking on the pitch count with Rick Anderson.
I think he might have asked him if he loses him, we're going to give him one more.
Right back up the middle into center field. Narvaez with a 2-out single.
Here comes your answer.
Like Gardy, you can tell the look on his face. He's going to have to go out and get him. 77 pitches, so 7 over what they wanted to see him throw.
And Michael was tremendous tonight.
Gardy taking that slow walk out to the mound. He will take the baseball, and Michael Fulmer will receive a nice round of applause as he departs.
Making his first start since July 14th. He had his foot on the gas pedal early and often. His fastball averaged about 97 miles an hour this evening against the Chicago White Sox. We're not throwing that fastball. He was throwing that slider, which was a really good pitch, and the changeup. He used a lot more today than he used before he went on the disabled list. You know Ron Gardenhire wanted to leave him out there for that one more out to get the W from Michael, but he just couldn't do it tonight.
Adam Engel stands in, and he waves and misses on a pitch from Alcantara. Wall side windows pitching change with Victor coming in.
16th game for Victor this year. He roughed up a little bit in his last outing against the Cubs. He gave up back-to-back home runs to Baez and Rizzo. That's about all they've gotten against him since he's been in the big leagues. He has been tremendous.
He has harnessed his inability to throw strikes. He's cut down on the walks. This year in the minor leagues, it really showed that he had gained command of his control, and the walks were down and the strikeouts were up, and he was getting a bunch of outs. 2.81 ERA at Toledo this year. Swing and a miss. Down goes Engel. He took care of him on 3 pitches to end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th. Tire. For tires and auto service, everybody needs a Bell Tire guy. And it's Chevy Truck Month. Bring on the new and hand down the old Chevrolet. Find new roads. What a night here in the Motor City. Great night weather-wise, and the Tigers are ahead by a 2-0 scores. Menards brings you the big money encounter. Michael Fulmer, Reynaldo Lopez squaring off tonight. Fulmer was dynamite.
He really was. He only gave up 2 hits, no runs. He walked 1, 4 strikeouts. Reynaldo, he's walked 3 in the contest. The one thing that is holding true in this game is the fact that neither guy is really getting a whole lot of run support, but that's the way it's been for both Michael and Reynaldo all year.
Reyes had a bloop double down the left field line in the 3rd and scored a Tigers run. He'll be followed by Candelario and Iglesias. Ooh, just fouled down the 3rd base line. Almost did it again. Jacoby Jones getting a little bit closer to returning to the Tigers lineup. He has been manning center field since Martin was traded, and Reyes now has been playing most of the center since Joby's been on the DL, but we'll see how that all shakes out. Tigers, of course, will have the call-ups come September.
You think they're going to have quite a few?
I think they'll have a few. I don't know how many. Yeah, I think, you know, the Tigers in the past, especially under Leland, of course, the teams were much different back then. They were, you know, certainly more
better
veteran,
teams, contending teams.
They were veteran laden. They really kind of held down the number of call-ups, but I think you might see a few more this year. I think we'll see a few pitchers get an opportunity. I think we'll see Christian Stewart come up.
That'll be nice to see Christian.
Here's the 2-2. Outside 3-2. Not a whole lot more Kristen Stewart can do down at 3A ball.
Well, he's already been the 2-time minor league player of the year in the organization, and he's probably going to do it for the 3rd time this season. And no other player's done it twice. He's going to do it 3 times.
Golf fouled again. 3-2. The count stays on Reyes. Lopez, but the pitch count jumping up now. This is his 90th, and it's fouled away. Here's another typical Reyes at bat. He had that 13 pitch at bat in Minneapolis. He's up to 10 in this one.
That 13 pitch at bat was classic.
And he went around. Strike 3. Reyes is finally rung up. 1 gone.
That is now 7 strikeouts for Lopez, and most of his strikeouts have come on the breaking pitch. He uses the fastball to get ahead, but when he wants that strikeout, he'll throw that breaking ball.
Four straight strikeouts, and that last at bat went 11 pitches before Reyes retired.
And all 4 of those strikeouts that you just mentioned, all 4 of them swinging.
Here is Candelario. He'll stand in with 1 out. Jamer not afraid to take his walk. He's been ahead of the count all night. He has walks in the 1st and 3rd. In the air toward left field. On the move is Palka, still coming. 2 away. Well, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go. Download the app and take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you wherever you go. It's made available by Oakland University. Here is Iglesias, line to left field. Palka coming on to make the play in a 1-2-3 inning for Lopez. Park, a night in which Michael Fulmer returned to the Tigers rotation, and Rod, he was awfully good tonight. I mean, he held the White Sox at bay for what, 5 2/3 innings.
Well, he looked about as good tonight, Mario, as we've seen him all year. I mean, the fastball was firm, 95 to 98, and lots of strikes. The slider had some good depth, some good bite. He threw some really good changeups, and it looks like he's going to get back to throwing that changeup. He threw it quite a bit tonight.
Yeah, we saw the fastball 96, 97, 98. A little bit above what he averages, about 95 miles an hour, but he was awfully good in this one here this evening. Now Alcantara will start his first full inning of work. And a foul by Yolmer Sanchez, the top of the order for the White Sox. Sanchez, Moncada, and Garcia. Yolmer in the ball game with a fly ball and a ground out.
Kudos to the Tigers, though, the way that they dealt with Michael Fulmer and that oblique injury. I mean, they made sure that he was 100% healthy and before he came back, so that he would have no more setbacks with that particular injury.
Now the 0-2.
You know, Michael was chomping at the bit to get back in there.
So he missed what, about a month?
About a month, a little over a month, about 5 weeks.
Tigers really had no need to rush him back. Here's the 1-2. There's a foul ball. Ducey tried to yank it.
I guess I might as well bring this up and then I'll put it to bed. But Michael Fulmer, the way he threw the ball tonight, I mean, if there's a scout out there that they're still looking for a starting pitcher and they want to overpay the Tigers, yeah, they might be able to get them something back from Michael. His name was being thrown around a little bit before the trade deadline.
Got about a week until the August 31st deadline. Sawed him off and rolled him towards second, where Goodrum is stationed, and one gone. Sent it down now to Trevor Thompson.
Well, Mario, I don't know if you remember last year at MSU night here. Kathleen and her friends had signs. You and Rod were on them, of course. Gibby was on it in his state jersey. I made the cut this year, buddy. Simo made the cut this year. Kathleen, how much fun did you guys have putting this together for Spark?
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. It was awesome. We love you all. We love the Tigers. We love Michigan State.
I'm so happy I made the cut this year. Thanks for the love.
You did. You absolutely did.
Guys, I even got to sign their sign. You know it's cool when you get to sign some autographs. That's a pretty cool night.
Hey, Trev, tell him I see him.
Hey, Trev.
Rod says he sees you. He sees you, Kathleen. He sees you, Sparty Nation. Rod sees you, Sparty Nation.
Yeah.
Rod.
Yes, sir.
Flexen. You got a Sparty tie on here. Did you know?
I did not know that.
Look at you got that Sparty tie on.
I didn't know that.
Dapper as always.
Right.
Johnny's got a Sparty tie on. I got a Sparty tie on. And Gibby in the MSU jersey, ready to dole out punishment.
Well, Cotter rolls out 4-3. There are 2 gone now here in the 6th inning. Michigan State not here at the ballpark tonight.
You hanging with them tonight? It's Friday.
Sparty makes an appearance. You got to like it when Sparty's in the house. Sparty.
Mario.
What's up, brother? That's right.
Sparty had a photo op with Paws today before the game. Attaboy, Sparty.
Sparty, one of the top mascots in the country.
You got to like it, boys. You got to like it.
All right, Trev, thanks.
Yes, guys.
You going to hang with your Sparty folks tonight after the game a little bit?
Got a game tomorrow.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. 2 outs now for Garcia, who looks at a ball outside. 1-0. Javi Garcia with an 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground ball. Alcantara now has come on to retire 3 straight since replacing the starter Fulmer. Popped up. This can be an easy inning for Alcantara, and down goes Garcia. It's a 1-2-3 6th inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th.
Castellanos is responsible for both of the Tigers' runs tonight. He grounded into a double play his first time up, and Candelario scored. He singled his next time up and drove in a big run. That was Victor Reyes, and he also made a pretty nice play in the outfield up against the wall.
Meanwhile, Lopez answering the bell here. And the Tigers have Castellanos to lead things off, followed by Martinez and Ducey. Lopez had 94 pitches, and that is fouled out of play.
I told you earlier, if you weren't with us, that Lopez is one of those guys that can throw his fastball at 96, 97 in the first inning, and he can still do it in the 7th and the 8th.
Xavier Cedeno warming up in the bullpen for the Sox as the pitch count now nears 100 for Lopez. He's gone as high as 114 this year. But that was in early July at Texas. One and two on Nicholas. Martinez and then a Ducey, which means 3, 4, 5 in the Tigers lineup. Tigers have won 10 of the 13 between these two clubs. They have, counting tonight, 6 more to go.
What's amazing about the dominance they've had over the White Sox is the numbers are pretty identical, up and down in a lot of different categories, but yet the wins keep coming for Detroit.
Tigers won last night 7-2, or yesterday, I should say.
And last time Castellanos was up, he took a really good pitch from Reynaldo. It was 98 miles an hour on the black at the knees, and he whistled it right back up the middle for a solid single and an RBI. 98.
Right back to the mound, knocked out by Lopez. Nick retired, 1 gone here in the 6th. Hey, from now until midnight tonight, take an extra $5 off select themed event ticket packages in the month of September. Those packages include Uper Night, Wayne State Night, MS Society Day, and more. If you'd like to purchase, go to tigers.com/flash. Hurry this offer in soon. Tigers.com/flash. Vmart is quiet tonight. He's 0 for 2, strikeout and a ground out. Had the opener off yesterday, did not play in the day game. And Bender missing high, 1-0.
Although both myself and John Keating tried to take him in, Ram picked the stick, and he wasn't even in the starting lineup yesterday.
That's how hot he's been.
Although didn't Gibby take him one day this year when he wasn't starting?
Yeah, that was against Chris Sale, and it was a preemptive strike because he figured, well, Sale's going to have a lot of strikeouts. I'll just take a guy on the bench who might pinch hit against the bullpen late
and not strike out. Did it work out for him?
I don't think he scored that night. No, didn't work out, but he didn't get negative either. 3-0 on Martinez, or Papicho, his nickname here on Players Weekend, and there's a strike call. 3-1. Playing to pull on the infield on Victor, and he pulls it right to the first baseman, right under his glove, and Martinez will reach. Second time tonight, Delmonico has not been able to handle a ground ball.
Delmonico really, I mean, he hasn't played first base, and he'll get better over there, but he has so much more time. I mean, he just played this into a bad hop when really all he had to do was back up 1 or 2 steps and grab the ball on a better hop and then get the ball to Reynaldo, who's covering first base. But you're still going to beat Victor there. But that's something that he will learn.
appears that's going to be it for Lopez. Renteria coming out. They have ruled that an error, E3 on the first baseman Delmonico. Pitching change at Comerica. Or is there? No pitching change. Lopez hanging in there. So at 105 pitches, they're going to stay with him.
Sometimes managers will leave a young pitcher out there just to grow in a situation like this.
Again, 114 his season high. Cedeno has been warming up. He is joined by Genmar Gomez. I do see a walk and a pop-up. To the right side, Delmonico has this one, fires to second one, and not in time. Delmonico made a nice play there, made a good accurate throw.
Nice job of Delmonico making sure they get at least the one out with the good firm throw.
Two away now for Goodrum. Ground out strikeout for Nico. There have been only a total of 5 hits in this game. 3 for the Tigers, only 2 for Chicago. Daniel Stumpf in the Tigers pen.
He looked really good a couple of days ago. He got up to 95 with his fastball 2 days ago.
Fought that one off in on his hands, 0-1.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can do with that pitch right there. I mean, that ball is 97 and it's in an area where you just cannot do a whole lot with it.
The 0-1. Goodrum came in among the league leaders in many different categories among rookies this year. He has really made his mark in his first real full season in the major leagues. Second in walks, second in runs scored. Extra base hits among rookies. In there is strike.
It's a good changeup there by Ronaldo. He uses that 1-1 count to throw a lot of changeups. And usually when he gets to 2 strikes, it's that slider. Floated up there.
Slice to left, base hit. Nico takes it the other way with a single.
It's a good at bat by Nico.
We'll bring up Mikey Matuk.
Yeah, fastball mid-90s, just slaps it the other way for a solid knock. Good balance, short stride.
It's going to be it. Rick Renteria coming out with a hook this time. Lopez out of the game. 2-0 Tigers. Will be back. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be. Come to Comerica. Your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. See why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Tigers and White Sox hooked up in a tight one here tonight. 2-0 in favor of the Tigers. They've got 2 on here in the 6th inning, and a Wallside Windows pitching change now as the Sox go to the bullpen. And they have Janmar Gomez coming in.
And Gomez pitching in the 17th game for the White Sox this season. He's got a fastball that will top out at about 93, maybe 94. He throws his slider a lot, and he also throws his changeup quite a bit. And he also has a curveball that he will mix in there from time to time.
Matuk now with 2 on and 2 outs, trying to extend the 2-0 Tigers lead, and Mr. Lopez looking on here after emptying the tank here in the 6th inning. His pitch count was up most of the night, and it finally got to him. Mikey has fanned twice in this game. You can see the tantalizing skill of Reynaldo Lopez.
No question about that.
And then when he finally puts it all together, he's going to be dynamite.
I was thinking about that last half inning. What was missing from his arsenal, which is now allowing him to get easier outs in the big leagues with that 98-mile-per-hour fastball and that slider and a good changeup. He's got all the weapons. I guess it's a matter of mixing them up a little bit better.
1-1 on Matuk. One and 2. Janmar Gomez, a former Cleveland Indian. Swing and a miss. Tough night for Mikey. He has struck out 3 times. Tigers strand a pair, and we go to the 7th.
Sam call of the game. Back in the 2nd inning, Matt Davidson, the batter. A nice play here by Mikey Matuk, traveling 89 feet, leaving his feet sliding and making a catch with a runner in scoring position. So that would have scored a run for the White Sox had Mikey not made that play.
Michael Fulmer appreciated it. Fulmer very good tonight in his return to the Tigers rotation. Tigers going back to the bullpen now, and it's going to be Daniel Stump coming in.
Daniel Stump pretty good in his last outing against the Chicago Cubs. His fastball got all the way up to 95 miles an hour, which we had not seen out of Daniel at the beginning of this season, but we did see it last year.
Tigers trying to set their defensive shift. Daniel Palka leads it off.
I guess those of us that were worried about Alcantara after giving up a few runs against the Chicago Cubs in his last outing need worry no more.
No, he struck out a batter in the 5th and got him 1-2-3 harmlessly in the 6th. Palka double and a fly ball. Only 2 hits for Chicago.
Chicago came in swinging the bats pretty well as a team. As a matter of fact, they've homered in 15 consecutive games.
Now 2-2. It's their longest streak since 2012, that home run streak. They've hit 20 of them in their last 11 games.
They've been flexing their muscles.
Got him, strike 3. Stump walks off the mound. Palka does not agree with that call.
Where in the world did Daniel Stump get 96 from, partner?
Looks good. Oh my goodness. Well, borderline. He threaded the needle there.
With some high velocity.
High octane. Tim Anderson. Going to be interesting to see the final month of the year as we approach September, how the bullpen shakes out. Saw your piece on Tigers Live pregame today, talking with the fellas on the set about which of these Tigers young players are part of the future for the Tigers. You mentioned Verhagen out of the bullpen, Alcantara. I'd agree with those guys, but Stump has an opportunity here now down the stretch to show that he belongs here.
Well, they don't have any other options. I mean, there's no other left-handers out there, so it's all about Stump doing what he needs to do to secure a job in 2019 like he did in 2017 when he made this opening day roster by what he did last year.
Well, the returns since his return have been good.
We didn't see 95, 96 out of Daniel the first month of the season. Ooh, he thought he wrapped that breaking ball around the dish.
Tigers pitchers have retired 10 of the last 11 Sox. Chopper to the second baseman. Goodrum throws him out. 2 gone in the 7th. Join us tomorrow night. Tigers once again host the White Sox at Comerica. All of your game coverage begins at 5 with Tigers Live tomorrow night. Tigers Sox at 5 right here on Fox Sports Detroit.
We get started an hour earlier tomorrow.
So give us an extra hour to prepare for Sunday's great day here at the ballpark in honoring Alan Trammell.
Better get here early.
Number 3 will be posted up on the left center field wall. Meanwhile, in the outfield grass, the number 3 has been etched into center field. Delmonico down on the count 0-2, and Daniel Stump is just buzzing through him right now.
He's thrown 12 pitches, 8 strikes, and he looks awfully confident out there after going down to the minor leagues for a short spell.
Down he goes, stumped with another strikeout, his second of the inning. Coming up, the Consumers Energy 7th inning stretch.
And Simo, it's just so hard to be humble now. I mean, it just, you know,
there seems to just always be winning.
-2, -1, -2. Oh, look who's leading.
Yeah,
way down
Papa
there.
Bear's
on the right.
leading.
Yeah. I don't hear anything from Mr. Impemba. Nothing.
He's got nothing.
You know, Keats,
crickets.
let me say this.
Yeah.
When I was at Michigan State, I once had a professor tell me, Mr. Impemba, if you can't improve on the silence, please keep your mouth shut. That might apply to you right now.
and I'm going to guess that's the best thing you took out of East Lansing.
The only thing I took
the
out
banks
of
the Red Cedar.
I was a little chatty in class one day. That was dropped on me. All right, still plenty of time to catch Keats here in this game. James McCann will lead things off in a wave and a miss. There's Sparty in the house tonight. Michigan State University night here at the ballpark. One ball, one strike on Mack, who has fanned twice in this game.
They have given James McCann a steady diet of breaking balls today. Reynaldo Lopez did it, and now Jenmar Gomez. A nice little breaking ball right there to get James McCann to swing through. 4-2.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That'll dive low and in the dirt. 2-2. Gomez 1 year had 37 saves. His best year in the big leagues as a reliever was closing for the Phillies. 2016 he had all those saves. Two balls and two strikes. Three and two.
It looks like the White Sox are watching some video of Joe Jimenez, who is going to be coming into the game. Some of those guys aren't playing right now, but some of those guys might be in the game. I guess you try to gain an edge any way you can.
Well, they've needed to because Jimenez has dominated the Sox this year.
Has he?
6 innings, 1 hit.
Ooh.
They are 1 for 19 against him.
That is dominance.
Mean Joe warming up.
Maybe they shouldn't be watching that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was almost like when when Verlander was in his heyday, and I used to tell the hitting coaches on the other side when they were friends of mine, why are you even watching that video? What are you going to tell your team?
Joe also with 11 strikeouts. Oh, we got him. Strike 3, and McCann strikes out 3 times tonight. And Mac letting Adam Hammery know he did not like it.
James said he had 0 chance at hitting that ball.
Ryan Lamar giving a look on the video screen. Not like it used to be, is it?
The game has changed, man. It really has. I mean, the game has changed.
9 strikeouts now for Sox pitching.
And I can't say for the worst either. I mean, the game is a special game. I mean, lots of fans every single night. People enjoy the game. I enjoy the game, but the game is different.
Very, very different game these days. Of course, the talent is as good as it's ever been in the game. Chopper to the right side for Moncada. Man, that's just a bad play right there.
That's 2 bad plays on the right side of their infield. Both he and Davidson have played easy outs into errors.
Now, why would he play this ball off to his left?
And he doesn't really have to charge it all that much either, Mario. I mean, he can take a couple of steps and get out in a really nice position, athletic position on the balls of your feet with 2 hands and just make a nice play. And then if you don't play it off to your left, you don't open yourself up for the ball crawling up your arm. If you play the ball in front of you, it hits you right in the chest, and it bounces right in front of you, and you still got a chance to get it out.
Top of the order now here is Candelario. We'll see if the Tigers can take advantage here. They lead 2-0 in the 7th. Candy has been in a good hitting count every single at bat tonight. Walked in the first, walked in the third. Diving back in, Reyes has 7 steals this year. Victor 7 out of 8 in the stolen base category. Two 2-0. Narvaez this year has thrown out 21%. If Reyes is thinking about scooting to second, modest lead right now. And Candy looks at a strike. 2-1.
Nick doing a little studying himself.
Reyes reaching on an error by Moncada here in the 7th. There he goes. Narvaez will bounce one in. The tag not in time. Stolen base for Reyes, his 8th of the year.
Yeah, Victor most definitely picked the right pitch to run on. It was an off-speed pitch from Genmar Gomez, and Victor gets a pretty good jump and with the head first slide in there safely. It was closer than I thought.
Me too, but he definitely got in. Well,
Yeah, he got in.
He got in, but man, from the original look at that, I thought, nah, he's easily in.
Right. I thought the same thing.
Now 3-1.
Ooh, change piece and a 3-1 count and a beautiful pitch. My goodness. If you could do this in the big leagues and throw an off-speed pitch and a fastball count all day long, man, you can have a lot of success up here. And Jenmer's had success in the big leagues.
Slice to left field. It is sinking. Base hit. Reyes will stop at third as Palka gets it back in. Big night tonight for Candelario. On base for the third time.
And nice little two-strike approach here by Jeimer Candelario. It was a changeup that was fading off the plate, but he wasn't greedy. He just kind of hit the ball where it was pitched, and Polka couldn't get there. A couple of more insurance runs would be lovely in this contest for the Tigers.
Single for Iglesias in 3 at-bats. Tigers have their 5th hit of the game. Only 2 in the hit column for Chicago. Pickoff throw, but the third baseman Sanchez was not on the bag. We saw Shields pick off Castellanos at third base yesterday.
I wonder why more teams don't use this kind of move that James Shields used, and we just saw Jenmore attempted as well. More right-handed pitchers with a runner on third base.
That'll bend in for a strike. Iglesias really good this year with men in scoring position. Trying to cash in here in the 7th. Had a good hack. 0-2. Candelario chased back in there. Kennedy's not been a really big stolen base threat this year. He's tried only 4 times. He has stolen twice, been thrown out twice. Castellanos waiting on deck. Lopez started for the White Sox. Gave way to Gomez in the 6th inning, and now Genmar here in the 7th. Pulled foul. Gomez began his big league career with Cleveland, spent a couple of years with the Indians, went to Pittsburgh for 2. And then had the successful year with the Phillies. 70 appearances, 37 saves. Outside, 1-2. Outfield shallow in center and right field against Iglesias. He was trying to add to the Tigers' 2-0 lead here. See if Iglesias flares one the other way here. He's gone to the right side a couple of times tonight. The 1-2, swing and a miss. Iggy down on strikes, 2 gone, and 10 strikeouts now for Chicago pitching tonight.
And Nicholas Castellanos last week when the White Sox were in town, he had a career day, a 5-for-5 day, and he capped it off with a home run against guess who? Jenmar Gomez. That was his 5th and final knock of the day. Did you have Nick and Pick the Stick that day? You did, didn't you?
I did.
That was like a 19-point day, I believe.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yes, it was huge.
Ah, the memories. It's been a while since I've had that kind of day. I don't think I've had that many points the last 2 weeks.
Well, you know what, though? It happens like that sometimes. But we got 5 big weeks to go. And you're still in the top row. So you're sitting pretty. And you're all right.
You sound like a coach.
You're all right. You're all right.
All right, I'll hold you to it.
You're doing all right.
Now here is Castellanos.
And Nicholas loves first pitches. That hasn't changed since he's come to the big leagues. He also likes to hit breaking balls as well.
Fouled that one off 0-1.
And they have opened up the entire, the entire left side, right side of the infield for Nicholas Castellanos. The second baseman is over on the left side, and the first baseman is holding on the base runner. So you got that much room.
Wow.
You got that much room to hit a ball on the right side of the infield and get you a hit and an RBI.
Instead, he pulls it right over the head of the shortstop, Anderson. That'll work too. RBI single with 2 outs here in the 7th for Castellanos.
Nicholas in his last 11 games, man, has just been on fire. That is now 14 RBI in his last 11 contests. Hit it right over Anderson's head. Anderson was playing him perfectly, but he played him so perfectly is that he couldn't move to elevate. It's hard to jump from a standstill position, and he could not elevate enough to make a play.
So Castellanos with his 2nd RBI of the night, sending Gomez to the showers, and we'll be back. In the 7th inning, they are still batting with a couple of guys on base. Victor Martinez due up against Thiago Vieira in a wall side windows pitching change.
And Vieira has a big arm. His fastball can get up to 98 miles an hour. He throws that fastball 61% of the time, as you could imagine. 19% with the slider. He also has a curveball and a changeup. So he's got 4 pitches pitching out of the bullpen.
And Victor will step in now with 2 men on and 2 men out. A run in for the Tigers here in the 7th. Vieira hails from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
So he's the 3rd player in the big leagues now from Brazil then.
Yeah, Paulo Orlando.
And Young Gomes. Yeah.
And now Vieira.
Yeah.
Vmart in the ball game is 0 for 3, reaching on an error by Delmonico in his last at bat.
Nothing better than those 2-out hits that Nicholas Castellanos has gotten today. And both of his base hits and RBIs today have come with 2 outs, extending the inning.
Right at Delmonico, who makes a leaping catch and robbing Vmart. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. It is time for the Miller Lite Hold True moment. How about Michael Fulmer tonight?
Michael was outstanding. We talked about the fact that the majority of the pitches that he threw were 95 and above, but he didn't stop there. He used his breaking ball effectively. He also used his changeup very well today. He threw lots of first pitch strikes, and he was on the attack all night long. Needed one more out to get the win here today, but he couldn't get that final out.
The plumber was pretty good. 4 punch outs, no runs, 2 hits, and the Tigers go back to the bullpen now. Here is Joe Jimenez.
3.57 is the ERA for the big right-hander Joe Jimenez, pitching in his 58th game. Tigers are going to watch him very closely down the stretch. They don't want to overuse him. He has struck out 16 and walked 18. The opponents are hitting just .219 against Joe. It's been outstanding. Been outstanding this year. I think I said struck out 16, but Joe has punched out 61, excuse me.
He fires a fastball inside to Matt Davidson. Bottom 3 coming up here. Tigers now have retired 12 of the last 13 and 7 straight. Swing and a miss. 1 ball and 1 strike on Davidson, who has a fly out and a strikeout, robbed of an extra base hit by Matuk with a sliding play. That was way back in the 2nd. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Bouncing ball foul. Joe certainly has the stuff to be a future closer. I think the Tigers look at him as a guy that eventually will close games.
Yeah, he has the ability to do it. And he appears to have the understanding of that role. He closed a few games when Green was on the disabled list.
He did. And he's just dusted Matt Davidson. And when you look at some of the guys in the bullpen now, the Tigers, of course, have Green closing games to the back end. They've got Jimenez. They've got Alcantara, who got things straightened out tonight.
Check out this little hesitation right here. You remember Joe doing that much? With that left leg coming up and holding there for a minute?
Occasionally I've seen him do it this year. Not a lot, though.
That's some nice deception there before he dusts Davidson with that 97 mile-per-hour cheese. Fulmer, Alcantara, stumped, and now Jimenez. All four guys up to 95 miles an hour here tonight. And we don't say that very often about our bullpen. And they still got a couple more guys down there that can throw 95. I mean, Verhagen can get to 95. And so can Shane Green. And McAllister, for that matter. Looks like they're starting to compile some arms.
Oh, 2 the count on Narvaez. Of course, that is the way the game is going now. You've got to have guys that can throw mid-90s, upper 90s heat, and a swing and a miss. Nope, got a piece of it to stay alive. And Narvaez still kicking.
Check that. McAllister not here. I must have missed that when I was on vacation for them 4 days in that Cup Series.
Yeah, the Tigers parted ways with McAllister.
Okay.
Line drive to left, base hit. It'll go the other way, and it's going to be a single for Narvaez, who has his second hit.
It's a changeup by Joe, and it's located nicely away from Narvaez, but he just puts together a lot of quality plate appearances against us. They punched him out a few times in last night's game, but that was rare for him.
Number 9 hitter now, Adam Engel, just the 3rd hit of the night. Sox have not had much going offensively. That's how dominant Fulmer was, and the bullpen has done the rest. Engel has had a tough night, 0 for 2, couple of strikeouts. How much do you think he needs to hit to be an everyday player?
250. And he get his on-base percentage up a little bit, take a walk or two here and there. We haven't seen him try to bunt, I don't think, since we played him. He's got world-class speed. They say there's only 2 guys faster than him in the big leagues.
Huh.
And that's Buxton and the guy in Cincinnati, Hamilton. They say he's the 3rd fastest base runner in the big leagues.
Hamilton's kind of in that same boat. He's got to hit a little bit higher if he wants to stick around.
And Buxton's got to stay healthy, too. So all 3 of those guys are in the same boat. But I will say this about Engel. He has woken up lately.
Two out of 4, couple of doubles yesterday.
And Joe throwing nothing but strikes for the most part. He's thrown a combined 11 pitches here in the 8th frame, and he's only missed the zone with 2 of those.
Here's the 1-2. Little looper in the air to center field, gonna drop, base hit.
Couple of bloop singles. Come on, Joe.
It'll bring the Tiger end to the plate now. Yolmer Sanchez. Tigers have made it clear they will watch down the stretch how many innings Joe will throw. He's already beyond his total from last year. Sox have doubled their hit total here with a couple of knocks in the 8th. Sanchez 0 for 3. Ground ball here gets Jimenez out of the inning.
Another nice off speed there. Get back in the count for Jimenez. That's the one thing that Joe has started to do very well this year. It used to be last year when he fell behind 1-0. He would always throw a fastball, and he would get hit hard because these guys up here can hit a fastball when they know it's coming. I don't care how hard you throw. But if you start to throw some change-ups and breaking balls in those fastball counts, when you do come back with your fastball, you can get some swings and misses, like right now. Or they'll take it.
96. Sanchez thought it might have been a little bit in tight.
Sometimes all you have to do is put the thought in the mind of a hitter that you will throw him something other than a fastball. And that split second of timing that he needs to barrel up the fastball sometimes makes him late.
Really, when you look at it, 3 of the 4 hits for the Sox in this game been bloop hits. The double that was earlier in the game for Polka was a blooper 2 into center field. Tiger pitching is dominated tonight, but there's a little bit of light for the Sox here in the 8th. Oh, little low. Now 3-2.
Now, if Joe had any confidence whatsoever in that changeup, he'd come right back with it here instead of throwing that fastball.
Moncada waiting on deck. Fouled it away. He came back with the fastball and almost threw it by Sanchez. High, ball 4. He walked him, and now they've got him loaded up.
Might have to get Shane Green up.
They're looking on the telephone to the bullpen. So the tying runs are on now, and Yohan Moncada will step in. We'll also get a visit from Rick Anderson. Tiger bullpen stirring now. A couple of bloop singles and a walk. There is Shane Green.
Shane Green has already gotten 4-out saves this year, I believe 4 times.
More times than not this year, Green has been able to just kind of sit there and chill when Jimenez is out there.
Yeah.
Knowing the 8th inning is on lockdown. So here is Moncada now. 5 for 11 this year with the bases loaded.
Yeah, he swings and misses a lot, but not necessarily when the sacks are full. 1 homer as well in those 5 hits.
Ball 1. He is 0 for 3 career against Jimenez. A couple of strikeouts. Ball 2 now from Jimenez. No place to put Moncada. Driven deep to right field, way back. Castellanos going back. He looks up, it's off the wall. 2 runs are in. Moncada will go to second with a double, and now it's 3-2.
That's that count that I was just speaking of regarding big league hitters. If you continue to fall behind them and you're constantly falling behind and you force yourself into throwing 2-0 fastballs right down the middle, these guys are going to put that ball in play. And that's exactly what Moncada does here. He drives in 2 big runs, and now these White Sox are in business. Runners on second and third with just 1 out. Nick played the ball well off the wall, which means they were only able to score 1 runner. Yomer Sanchez actually got a great break off of first base, and he probably could have scored, but he wasn't sure whether the runner ahead of him was going to score or not.
And that's going to be it for Joe. Tigers trying to buy a little extra time for Green, who's warming up. Here comes Gardy. So Jimenez will face a total of 5 batters. He'll get 1 out. 2-run double by Moncada makes it a 3-2 game. And the Tigers now going to the bullpen. They'll bring in the closer, Shane Green. On 1 out here in the 8th inning, and here is the upcoming matchup presented by Wallside Windows. Tomorrow, game 3, Carpenter and Lucas Giolito.
Yeah, Giolito checks in with 9 wins, 9 losses, but an earned run average that's elevated. He gets tons of run support. Ryan Carpenter got his first major league win in his last outing against the Minnesota Twins. He was very good that day. 6 ERA this year for Carpenter.
So here is the closer now, Shane Green.
Yeah, 53 strikeouts, 15 base on balls for Shane Green. 52 in a 3rd innings pitched so far this year.
He's got Avisail Garcia now with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. 3-2 ball game. 2-run double by Moncada has tightened it up. Garcia is 0 for 3. And he'll drive one to right field, a base hit. That'll tie the game. They're going to hold Moncada at 3rd base. Garcia wasting little time, and it's a 3-3 ball game.
Shane Green throws 1 pitch and gets a blown save. That's just not right. It isn't. But those are the rules.
The White Sox couldn't do anything offensively until this inning.
They've had their most patient at bats here in the 8th frame. Alcantara, Fulmer, Daniel Stumpf kind of had their way through the first 7 innings against the White Sox.
Here's Daniel Polka. Way outside 1-0. Polka is 1 for 3 with a double. 3 runs in to tie this game. And Polka rips it to right field down the line. That'll score 1. Garcia coming to third base. They're going to stop him there, and Polka has a double, and the White Sox have their first lead.
That was an absolute frozen rope off the bat of Daniel Polka. It's a cutter. And he gets out on front of it, and he swings down on this ball, and he hits a rocket. Not often you see your first baseman dive for a ball. Dive for a ball in the infield, and the ball get all the way to the gate. You just don't see it very often.
He is among the guys that is the hardest exit velo.
That was an example of it right there, buddy.
110. Infield coming in now.
You can close the book on Joe.
Ryan Lamar is pinch running at second base. Here's Tim Anderson. Ball 1. A 4-run 8th inning for Chicago. And a rare instance where Jimenez and Green have gotten hit.
Yeah, be careful here if you decide to throw Tim Anderson a fastball. He's got some very quick hands. He's homered 17 times this year already.
High fly ball right field, chasing Castellanos back, still going. Nick looks up, it's off the wall. 1 run is in. Throw comes into second. 2 runs will score as Garcia and Lamar come in. It's a double and 2 RBIs for Tim Anderson. Here comes Gardy.
Oh yeah, no need to leave Greeny out there.
Wow, a single and 2 doubles allowed by Green. And all of a sudden it's a 6-run 8th for Chicago. We'll be back. Thing still only one out. Shane Green faces 3 batters, gives up a single, 2 doubles. And that was after Jimenez gave up a 2-run double as well. Tigers back end of the bullpen being roughed up tonight. Here comes Alex Wilson out of the Tigers pen.
Yeah, they're going to count on Willie to stop the bleeding here, pitching in his 47th game this year. He's got a sub-4 ERA. And Willie does not get a lot of strikeouts. He pitches more to contact, and he tries to induce contact on the first 3 pitches.
Nicky Delmonico is the 9th man to bat in the inning. Strike 1 on Delmonico. He has struck out twice in this game. He is also grounded out.
What's crazy about this inning is that Jimenez and Green were able to get ahead of 6 of the 9 batters in this particular inning, but yet 6 hits and a walk. It usually doesn't happen that way when you get ahead.
Well, they had a couple of bloop singles here in the 8th, which got it started.
Yeah, that did get it going.
And then a walk.
You know what they say, a couple of bloops and a blast.
Yep. Well, that has come to fruition here. 1, 2, 3, 4 straight hits producing runs for Chicago.
And a key walk by Yomer Sanchez, their leadoff hitter as well. Avi with a big hit to drive in 1 the opposite way.
Tigers had retired 8 in a row and then 7 straight Sox reach. Swing and a miss. Delmonico strikes out, and we'll go down now to Trevor Thompson.
Guys, here on Players Weekend, Alex Wilson has Willie on the back of his jersey, but it's what he's got on his feet is what I want you to pay attention to right now. He wrote the names of all 3 of his kids on a blank piece of canvas. He wanted plain shoes from the shoemaker and then let the kids color in the rest. They went to town with the markers. He said, yeah, those are some bright shoes, but the sentimental value attached to those is something he'll never forget. And he says, as he goes on in life, those will be a treasured keepsake from this Players Weekend for him.
That's special.
It's pretty cool right there, man. Having your kids, young kids, for Alex Wilson, color dad shoes.
Just color.
Go ahead.
That's wonderful.
Go to town.
And Daddy's gonna wear them too. I bet the kids are looking at them right now, loving it. Look at our shoes.
Matt Davidson, the batter. Swing and a miss. It was an Instagram that Willie sent out. Sneak peek at my Players Weekend cleats.
Hand done by my amazing kids.
The world might not be ready for these. Well, there they are. 0-2 on Davidson. McCann blocks it. 1-2.
Davidson just might make 2 outs in this inning.
He struck out to start the frame. 0 for 3 in the ball game tonight. Didn't go. 2-2.
Yeah, good cut fastball there by Alex. Almost caught the outside corner. And a good call by Adam Hammery.
Popped up. Should finally end the inning. Adducey is under it to retire the side. A 6-run 8th. 6-3 Sox. 8th inning. The Tigers bullpen, rather the back end of the bullpen. We haven't seen this in a while. Maybe occasionally Jimenez or Green, but not Jimenez and Green the same night.
No, that was a tough situation there. Give the White Sox some credit. I mean, they were able to bunch together a couple of bloop singles and then some big doubles the opposite way. One big one by Polka as well. But man, what happened there? I mean, Joe got ahead of most of the guys he went up against, but just wasn't able to put them away. And of course, Green, that was a very difficult situation. You come in on runners on second and third, no margin for error. You knew you're going to blow that save.
Well, so the Tigers have some ground to make up now. Ryan Lamar stays in the game, and he'll play left field. And Jace Fry, now the left-hander, is coming in out of the bullpen for the Sox.
45th game, 46th game for Fry, 4.12 ERA, 56 strikeouts, 15 walks. And a nice little bender there.
Ronnie Rodriguez. He is pinch hitting for a Ducey. Oh, 0-2 now on Ronnie.
El Fanino is the name that Ronnie Rodriguez goes by. And for those of you that do not know that, that's Ronnie's stage name. He's a rapper in the Dominican Republic, and El Fanino is the name that he goes by.
Felino. Number 60.
Everybody was trying to get Ronnie to freestyle today to give us a little taste of what he does, but he wouldn't do it.
Why?
I don't know. I think he was a little nervous. He said maybe in a couple of days he would give us a few bars.
All right.
A few lyrics.
Swing and a miss, and El Felino is down, one away. We got some music video.
Check him out.
Ronnie's looking fly there, isn't he?
Oh, Ronnie got some swag now.
Did they still say fly, or am I showing?
No, you cool, swag and fly. Check him out.
Nice. Now Nico stands in. Last time the Tigers saw Fry was on the 14th. Here in Detroit, he went 2 scoreless with 4 strikeouts. 1 ball and 1 strike on Goodrum. Single in 3 at-bats.
Yeah, those of you that want to listen to Ronnie, you can YouTube that at home and listen to Ronnie. If we let you listen to it, we have to take Mario's paycheck. we get fined.
Now, why my paycheck?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll split it with you.
All right. Threw me under the bus. Hey, that's your problem. Oh, on the outer edge there. Nico didn't like it.
And maybe I have to combine some of Keating's dough, too.
Yeah, probably. Now the 2-2. Little chopper slowly toward third base. Quick throw. Got him by half a step.
By an eyelash. Nico's got those long, galloping strides.
Tigers saying hold on here. We'll see if they want to appeal this, challenge it.
He's out.
Yeah, he is out by a wider margin than I thought.
Yeah. I like the way Nico just runs through the bag. You like that. Now, you don't see him lunging for that bag when he got there. Just run through the bag.
Ball 1 to Matuk. Been a tough night for Mikey with the bat. He is 0 for 3. He did make a nice tumbling catch out in left field, saving an extra base hit early in the game.
Fry really likes his slider and his curveball. He throws his slider 30% of the time, and he throws his curveball 23% of the time, which means you're not going to get many fastballs from Fry. And when you do get a fastball, it's probably going to be off the plate just to show you that pitch so he can come back to get to one of his breaking balls.
Buck Farmer in the Tigers pen. And Mikey looks at a strike, 3-1. Should he reach? McCann waiting on deck. Sliced and over the head of the shortstop. Or was that Moncada? That was Moncada, the second baseman. And so the Tigers get a bloop of their own here with 2 outs in the 8th.
Moncada nearly caught that ball. They're running to his left.
He almost mistimed his leap. And so Mikey is on now for McCann. Strike 1 on Mack. He has also struck out 3 times in this game. Tigers have their 7th hit.
Tigers have struck out 11 times tonight.
Tigers continue their series with the White Sox tomorrow at 6:10. First 10,000 fans receive a 68 50th anniversary Mickey Lolich bobblehead. If you'd like ticket information, go to tigers.com and score you a Mickey Lolich bobblehead. Soft line drive, base hit left field. Now the Tigers have 2 on. And McCann has a hit. Bring in Victor Reyes.
Yeah, fastball at 91. Cut fastball. Tried to get it in on McCann. He fought it off. Right over the head of the shortstop, Tim Anderson. Yeah, rally hats out in full effect.
So Reyes, who has been on twice, will stand in. Well, even if the Tigers do not score here, they've guaranteed that Castellanos is going to bat at least one more time, as Reyes will turn the lineup over after this at bat.
Yeah, Victor Reyes is a natural right-handed batter, but he hasn't gotten many at bats this season against left-handers. Most of his at bats has been against lefties. But this is his natural side.
0-2.
And a lot of times, if you can run the way that Reyes can run, and when you get into pro ball, or even before that, somebody gets in your ear and they say, maybe you ought to try to switch hit and get a little closer to first base. Maybe you can get yourself a few more hits, a few more bunt singles. Maybe it would help you get to the big leagues and have more longevity.
Just got a piece.
That's one thing that we are starting to see a lot of, and that's the influx of young switch hitters with a lot of talent in the game of baseball. It is a lot of those guys in the big leagues these days. Good athletic players. Tigers have a couple of them on this team.
1-2 on Reyes. Swing and a miss. He struck him out, and Fry closes down the inning. We go to the 9th.
sunshiny, optimistic, we see rainbows kind of people. We cling to the positive, and that is A, there's going to be fireworks after the game, after the 9th inning, and B, the win for the Tigers was Michael Fulmer tonight.
Oh, yes, sir, it was. It was Michael Fulmer, guy. That was the Michael Fulmer 2016 Rookie of the Year. He was very dominant in the 4 innings, 5 innings that he was out there. We're going to get into what made him so dominant tonight on the postgame show. Stick around.
And because we have to, we'll talk about the bullpen as well. But there's still an inning to be played. You never know what's going to happen. Right, Mario?
No, you don't, Keats, and that's what we're holding our hat on right now as Ronnie Rodriguez will take over at first base. He is replacing a Ducey, pinch hit for him, and Buck Farmer now is out of the Tigers bullpen.
Buck's pitched some pretty good baseball of late, and pretty much for the better part of the last 2 months. He's gotten that ERA down to a respectable number, 4.42, 52 strikeouts. He'd like to work on those walks, but that comes with experience. I think Buck most definitely has opened some eyes for 2019 campaign, pitching out of the Tigers bullpen.
There is a strike called on Narvaez. Farmer, Alcantara, Verhagen, all guys that have really acquitted themselves quite well this year.
And Buck also has a fastball that can touch 95. But that's the signature pitch right there, that change piece. And that's the pitch that really helps him dominate left-handed batters.
Narvaez fouls it back out of play, 0-2. He got it started in the 6-run 8th with a bloop single. Jimenez hit struck out the first batter, then bloopers by Narvaez and Engel, and that got the ball rolling for the White Sox. Swing and a miss. Down he goes. He is tagged out for strike 3.
There's that changeup that Buck has a tremendous amount of confidence in. It's an 0-2 pitch, and it bounces, and he gets strike 3.
Ten strikeouts now for Tigers pitching tonight. Here is Adam Engel. Frozen there.
Buck has some extreme splits. Right-handers are hitting 346 against him, and lefties 146.
Wow.
That is 200 points higher that right-handers are hitting above the lefties. See, the one thing that I think Buck should start to do, Mario, is use his changeup to righties. I mean, that's one of his better off-speed pitches, but the reason why those numbers are so high probably against righties is he doesn't use the changeup to the righties. He uses his fastball and his slider. But that changeup is a well above average pitch for Buck, and that's how he dominates lefties. He threw it right there.
Got a good result.
Actually, that's his breaking ball.
Yeah. Now the 1-2. Line to left field and caught by Matuk. 2 gone.
Man of Steel hits it hard. Yeah, but right at Mikey Matuk. A couple of former football players. Mikey Matuk was an outstanding football player too, as was Engel in high school.
Here is Yolmer Sanchez.
And so was Lamar on that squad too, right? He's a good high school football player.
He sure was. Walking run scored for Sanchez. Half-hearted swing there.
It's an ugly swing at that off-speed pitch.
0-2. '55th appearance for Buck Farmer. Sanchez barely alive. The Tigers will have the top of the lineup when we get to the bottom of the ninth. One and two. Fulmer, Alcantara, Stumpf, Jimenez, Green, and Wilson, and now Farmer in this ball game tonight. Swing and a miss. He dusted him, and 11 strikeouts for Tigers pitching. Top of the order coming up. .6-3. The White Sox got all 6 of their runs in the top of the 8th. Now the Tigers have the top lineup coming up. Jace Fry is still out there. It'll be Candelario to lead things off for the Tigers. And Jamer looks at strike one.
I think Fry has started off every single batter with that breaking ball, that little get me over breaking ball, and more often than not he's been able to throw it for a strike.
Manaya has been warming up in this game, so he would be good to go. I don't think they would let the lefty face Castellanos, who kills left-handed pitch. Chopped to third base, fielded there by Sanchez, and Candy's out, one gone. That'll bring up Iglesias. Nope, they're going to take him out now, so they'll bring in the right-hander to face Iglesias. Fry comes in, goes 1 1/3. And it'll be the right-hander Manaya to face Candelita. Fry, pretty good work for them. Gave up 2 singles in the 8th, but got through the inning and now gets 1 out here in the 9th. Pretty wacky 8th inning, huh, for the White Sox?
Yeah, it was wacky. He got the first batter out. He struck him out. That was Davis. And then he got ahead of these next 2 batters, 0-2, before giving up a couple of bloop singles. Then Yomer Moncada with the big double on the 2-0 pitch. And Avi Garcia went the other way. Parker hit a smash right past the Ducey. and they were off to the races.
Tim Anderson closed it out with a double. That knocked in 2 more runs, gave them a bit of a cushion, 6-3, and that's where we are. The White Sox had 2 hits for most of the night until the 8th inning rolled around.
Tigers needed just 5 outs and were ahead by 3 runs, and the White Sox came on to score 6 unanswered runs so far.
So Juan Minaya comes in now, the 27-year-old out of the Dominican Republic. Some handshakes from the skipper.
And a nice hug. It's good to see Rick Renteria in the dugout again and hugging and moving around the way that he is after missing, what, 5 games? Did he miss 4 or 5 games?
Missed 4.
With that lightheadedness that, hey, he had to stay in Minnesota for a couple of nights.
So Minaya was roughed up a little bit by the Tigers the last time he pitched here. 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning.
In 6 2/3 career innings against the Tigers, Minaya hasn't been very good. 10 earned runs, so maybe there's a chance.
Here comes Iglesias. How about this for Minaya? He walks 7 per 9 innings.
Ooh.
7.
Is that a lot?
It's a lot. He's got ahead of Condalita, I should say. Iglesias. Way inside, 1-1. It's tough to close out games when you walk as many as Minaya has. One and 2 now on Jose. Again, the ball game, a single and 4 at bats. He punched out his last time up. Little pop up. It'll be Moncada, and Iglesias has gone 2 away. It's going to bring up Castellanos. Been a good night for Nick. He's had 2 hits, 2 RBIs.
And the other run that scored today, it was off the bat of Nicholas Castellanos, but he hit into a double play, so he did not get credit for the RBI. So he's responsible basically for all the runs the Tigers have scored today for the most part.
Ball 1. Right down the middle at 95 miles an hour. 1-1 on Nicholas. It's up to 73 RBIs this season. Chopped to third, foul.
If you weren't with us earlier, we told you that Castellanos on this date last year had 71 RBI. He has 73. Mario just told you, and here's his day. And we told you he had a couple of knocks. He drove in runs with both of those hits, and both of those hits came with 2 outs. Also made a nice play in the outfield.
I mean, you are starting to see Nick now play the ball off the wall much better. You're seeing him get better jumps, making nice over-the-shoulder grabs.
I was talking to Dave Clark today. I was commenting him on just how well all of his outfielders have been throwing the ball this year with 29 assists, which is
tied for most of the majors, and then he started talking about guys making adjustments, guys doing a whole lot better out there.
Castellanos strikes out to end the ball game, and the Tigers lose one tonight to Chicago. Now we'll send you to the Coliseum Studios. John Keating with Tigers Live postgame.
Well, it's the world headquarters for Bummage here at the Coliseum Studio. The Tigers had their best bullpen pitchers, but it led to some bullpen blues. The win for the Tigers was the start by Michael Fulmer, and the thought that the Tigers would be carried by Nick Castellanos came up just short. Ron Gardenhire on it all when Tigers Live gets going just moments from now.